Hello everyone, welcome back to another exciting tutorial. I am Zuli. If you are new here, please do not forget to subscribe, and if you're one of my subscribers, I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you. Thank you so much for supporting my YouTube journey. Thank you so much. So without further ado, let's get started. So in this tutorial, we're going to learn to build a very simple yet stunning and breathtaking responsive portfolio website. This is a dark themed portfolio website, as you can see on the screen. We're using a dark theme. So let me just walk you through what we're going to be building. First off, we have this fixed navigation bar. So no matter how you scroll, the navigation bar remains fixed, and we have four links here that we'll be using to navigate to the home section, about section, work section, and the contact section. Then also we have this hero section here that has the name and has the image. Okay. On the right hand side, we have the social icons here for Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, where whoever is viewing this portfolio website can connect with on social media. We also have on the left hand side, we have these two links here for Hire Me and for Collab, right? So let us scroll a bit. This is the About Me section. There's an image on the left hand side, and there's a little write up here on the right hand side, and there's a button to download CV, another button for Hire Me. So that's all about the About Me section. Now we have the work section. The work section is what you're going to use to showcase your work, the best of the best work that you have, that you have worked on, or that you have done, maybe a project. So this is what we have in the work section. So for the work section, in the work container, we have on the left hand side, we have this GitHub icon for the GitHub link, and the link icon for maybe something like a live preview of the project. We have the project title, and we have a little write up as well. And on the right hand side, we have the image, right? So that is what we have basically in the work section. The work section is what will make people hire you. Like they can view on the link, they can click on the link, check the live preview of what you've worked on recently or part of the work that you've done before. Next, we have this contact me section. I believe that for a portfolio website, you should always have like a lot of call to actions. So after viewing your work, the next thing they need to do is to contact you, right? So this is the contact me section here. Okay. So we have the first name, the last name, email, and the message here. Lastly, we have the footer section. The footer section is just showing the name, social icons to connect, and then we have some lists here. And we have this copyright text as well. As you can see, the navigation bar remains fixed no matter how you scroll. Okay, so this is what we're going to be building. Also, I said earlier that this is a responsive website, so let us check it out. So on a mobile phone, this is what you're going to see. Okay, and this contacts me here. Let us see on an iPad. On an iPad, this is what it looks like here. The navigation bar still remains fixed. The name, everything is looking all good and stunning. So this is what we're going to learn to build using React, and we're going to be styling with CSS. Without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to do is to open your VS Code. I've opened mine, and then you navigate to a terminal. Let me do that again so you're going to see it. So navigate to terminal, click on new terminal, and then because we have not selected any folder, we need to change directory. Okay, so change directory to your desktop. Then I'm going to change directory to YouTube project because I have a folder for YouTube project. That is where I want to build my React app. That's where I want to store my React app. So I'm going to change my directory to YouTube projects. So if you have another folder where you want to store your YouTube, where you want to store best projects, you should just change directory to it. And then I'm going to run this command. Since it's a dark theme portfolio, I'm just going to name it dark portfolio. Okay, and you click enter. Make sure you have internet connection. And then you're going to see this on your screen. So just make sure you follow the command. First, you change directory to the new folder that you just created, dark portfolio. Then you're going to run this command, npm install. Depending on your internet connection, it might install quickly and it might take some time. So mine is already installing. So after you've successfully installed, okay, so you're going to navigate back to the file, click on open folder, and then on the folder, click on your desktop. So you're going to look for the project where you created the file. I created my YouTube project. Then I'm just going to click this dark portfolio, right? That is the name. I'm going to also select and open the folder. So this is it. Let me just cancel this. Now we're on our folder. So I'm going to start with cleanup. First of all, I need to delete app.css. I'm not going to use it at all. Move to recycle bin. And then my app.jsx, I'm going to clean it up as well. Ctrl E and delete. So REFCE is a shortcut to create a functional React app. And before you can use that shortcut, you need to have this extension. Let me show you. So if you type REFCE in any of your JSX file and you click enter, you're going to see it's going to create a functional React app for you. But you need this extension. You need ES7 React Redux React Native extension to use that shortcut that I showed now. So let me just close this, open back my Explorer. My index of CSS, I'm going to clean it up as well. So for my root folder, I want margin 0, padding, I'm going to set it to 0. Okay, so for any link tag, I don't want any text decoration. And for every list item, I don't want any list tag as well. And then for the body, okay, we'll go back to this later. So index.css as well, I'm going to change the title of my project. Let me just name it Dark Portfolio. You can give it whatever name you want. So this is Dark Portfolio. Then next thing we need to do now is to get the images that we're making use of. So these are all the images that we'll be using. So I'm just going to copy every single one of them and paste it in my asset file. Here, just replace. Let's see. So this is all copied. I don't need React.svg, so let me just delete it. Move to recycle bin, right? So these are the images I will be using. I'm going to provide the link to every single images that I used. I will provide the GitHub link in the description box. So now let us get to work. First off, we need to test if our React app is working. Navigate to your terminal, click on new terminal, and then you're going to run this command, npm run dev. This command is going to allow you to view whatever you're building on your local browser. So you're going to see this, navigate over on the localhost, then click on follow link, and then this is what we have. Okay, so our app is working. Let me reduce this a bit. If I change this to hello world, let us see. Okay, it is working perfectly well. So let's see. This is what we're trying to do, right? We have icons here. We have icons here as well. And then if you take a good look, this font is entirely different from this font, right? That means we need to get this font. So I'm getting this from Google Fonts. And for the icons, we need to install React icons. So let's go React icons and then Google Fonts, right? So this is React icon. Once you're on this website, copy this, head back to your VS Code, and on the terminal, you're going to paste it and click enter. Make sure you have internet connection. And now for the fonts, Google Fonts. Okay, so we're on Google Fonts. So the font I used is Beavers. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it well. So this is the fonts. And then you're going to see a button for get fonts. Click on it, get the embedded code, and you're just going to copy this import rule here. Copy. And then in index.css, you're going to paste it. Ctrl V. Right, so our React icon are successfully installed. Then we can now cancel this. Also, to use the fonts wherever we want to, we need to copy the CSS format, this styling, and then our VS Code, the index. I'm just going to paste it here, but I'm going to comment it out because we're not making use of it now. Come on, I want to comment everything at the same time. Highlight and then comment it. Okay, this is what we're going to be using. So let's get started for you. First off, you're going to create your component folder, components. In the components, we are going to have our navbar folder, right? Component as well. We're going to have the hero folder. In the components, we're also going to have the about folder. We're going to have the work folder. In the component as well, we're going to have the, let me see, contact folder. And then I think lastly, the footer folder. So I'm starting with about. So in each of the folder, you're going to create the JSX and CSS file, right? This is for JSX, this is for CSS. Click enter. So in the GSX, to create the shortcut to create the functional React app is RFC, if you remember. So click enter. So to save us time, right? I'm going to pause this video and create the GSX and CSS file for each of this folder. So for contact, footer, hero, navbar, work, I'm going to create the GSX and CSS file. So I've done that. I've created the GSX and CSS file for contact, footer, hero, navbar, and work. So let me just close every single one of them to avoid making unnecessary mistakes. Then let us start our work. First of all, starting with our navbar, right? So navbar.gsx, REFCE, click enter, and then I'm just going to delete this, highlight and delete. So I'm starting with div tag, div.navbar. I'm giving it a class name of navbar. So in the div, we're going to have list item. So for the list, each of the list item, I want 4 lists, right? And the list that is going to contain, each of the lists is going to contain a link. Okay, so I'm using link here, and this is to / means that it should navigate to the home page. So here I'm giving it home. So for the second list item, I want this to navigate to the about section. So I'm giving this about. For the third, I want this to navigate to work section. So I'm going to give it work. And for the last one, this is going to navigate to contacts. And then I want it to show contact. So in my app.gsx, I'm just going to delete this because this is what I want to show. I don't want this to show anymore. I'm going to render my navigation components. So this is going to take navbar. Okay, let us view it in our browser. So this is what we have right now. First off, I need to change the background color of the entire body. Okay, so in the index.css here, I'm going to have for the entire body background color. I'm using this color code, and the text color is going to be white. So this is it. This is what we have. Also, the color of all the links should be white as well. Let's see an effect. So this is it. Now what we need to do is to style. As you can see, this is the navigation here. But right now we have it here. Let us style it. So back to navbar. Before we start styling, we need to import our CSS file into our GSX file, navbar.css. So this is navbar.css. Come on. Alright, so I'm starting with navbar. Because it's a class name, we're going to be using dots. So position, remember that the position is fixed. And the bottom is going to be 20 pixels. Left, I'm going to set it to 0. Right as well is going to take 0. I want all the items in the center. Justify all the content center as well. Display flex. And then the background, I'm going to set it to this color code 07070A. So the width of the navbar is going to take 230 pixels. Padding, okay. Then the margin, I'm going to set it to auto. Z index will be set to 50. And then the border radius on all sides, 8 pixels. Okay, and I also set a backdrop filter. Backdrop. So blur 4 pixels. Now for our lists, navbar, for the list container, the display will take flex as well. The gap between each of the list item will be 25 pixels. And the font width for each of the lists will be 600. So we have it here, right? So we're done with the navbar. So we need to check for responsiveness. Let me click on inspect. Let's see. So on a smaller screen, this is how the navbar is going to look. On an iPad here, this is what the navbar is going to look like as well. On an S9, the navbar is not looking okay. So we need to adjust it a bit. So since it's okay on a medium screen, so I'm just going to go direct to work on the small screen. That is for mobile view. And that is 480 pixels. So here, I'm working on the navbar. The width is going to be 200 pixels. Let's see, margin left here will take 50 pixels. And the Z index in this case is going to take 100. So as you can see, this is looking okay, right? All right, so the next thing we need to work on now is the arrow section. So I'm just going to close this file, close this file, close this as well, then open my Euro folder and the Euro RAFC to create a functional React app. And then I'm just going to clear this. Now I'm creating a div tag with a class name of Euro, also with an ID of O, right? Remember, so we have Euro content here. Let me see. So in the Euro content, we're going to have the left, the center, and the right. So here, I'm just going to have dot hero the left first. Then we're going to have dot hero right, not the center, and we're going to have dot hero right. All right. So for the left, I'm going to have two paragraph tags. The first one is going to take hire me, and the second one is going to take collab. That means for collaboration. While the center is going to take the image and a p tag as well. So let me import the image first. Or let me start with this. The first one is going to take an h1 tag for the name, John. I'm also going to have another h1 tag, but with the class name of text bottom. And this will have the last name, Trumbull, right? Then we're going to have the image. So I'm using the image tag, and then I need to import the image, this home image here. So import home img. This is the name I'm giving it from my asset folder, and the name of the image is home.jpg. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this name, come right here, use my curly braces, and then paste the name. I don't know, home image. Okay, and the class name will also be home image. All right, so and then we're going to have a paragraph tag that's going to have John. Okay, this is John J. Trumbull, front end developer. Developer. I don't know. Let me just give this index. I don't know if this exists. And then for the right section, that is where we're going to have our icons. Remember that we installed React icon earlier. So I'm just going to type Facebook. And then React is going to suggest few icons. Then I'm going to choose from. I'm using the first one. And I'm giving this a class name of social icon. Okay, then close this. After Facebook, we have Instagram. Right? So for Instagram, I'm choosing the first one as well. Let me just copy this class name. And then I'll just paste it here. Then the last one is LinkedIn for users to connect. So I'm using this, and I'll paste the class icon I copied earlier. Sorry, the class name I copied earlier. So this is our hero section. And then in the app.gsx, I'm just going to render the hero components. So here we're going to have hero, and then React is just going to suggest it. And this is what we have on our screen, right? It's quite close to this. So let us start styling. So I'm going to open my hero.css. Let me close this. I'm going to open hero.css. Here I'm going to import my CSS file into my GSX file. So hero.css. Okay, so I'm starting with the hero content. So for the hero content, display is going to be flex. Flex direction is going to take row. Justify content, space between each of the contents. Padding inline is going to take 100 pixels. I want all the items to be at the center. Also, the margin top, I'm going to add 50 pixels. So the position will be set to relative. Let us see. So this is what we have right now. Let us continue. Next thing we need to do is to style this hero left. So for hero left, oh come on, just hero left. Let me see. Let me copy it again. So this is going to display flex. Gap is going to take 15 pixels. So let us see what we've done. Okay, so right here, this what we're trying to build here, this is on this is showing vertically while we have this horizontally. So I just need to rotate it. So transform, we use the transform property. So rotate at 270 degrees. Let's see, and we have it like this. Okay. Next thing we need to style is the center. So I'll copy this and then paste this here. So I'll paste this. Then this is going to take display grid. I want all the items in the center, align item center, and then the margin right, I'll set it to 100 pixels. We have an H1 tag in our hero content, right? So H1. So I'm setting the font size. We have a very big font, 220 pixels. I want the text in the center. And then remember what we pasted here. This is what we're going to be making use of it. The font family. So I'm going to paste this here. Tab this. Okay, so this is the font family, the font weight, and the font style. So this is it right here in our local browser. This is what it looks like. But this last name is quite far from this, I think. Okay, as you can see, these are not far from each other, but this is a little bit far. So we need to adjust this here. So we need to adjust this here. We have a class name for it. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this and then paste in my CSS file. So the hero center. So we're going to set the margin top. We want it to move higher than 100 pixels. So okay, we have it right here. Then the next thing here is our image. So in our hero center, the hero image, the width, I'm going to set it to 300 pixels. The height will take 300 pixels as well. And the border radius will take 12 pixels. Now for the margin top, it will take minus 120 pixels. So, okay, this is what we have now. We also have the paragraph tag in the hero center container. So I'm going to set the font size to 20 pixels and the margin top to 10 pixels. Okay, so after the center, we have the right section. Hero right. So display here is going to take flex. Flex direction will be colon. And the gap between each item will take 14 pixels. Okay. Now we have let us see. For the right section, we have the social icon. Okay, so this is hero right. And for the social icon, we're setting the font size of each icon to 22 pixels. Alright, so we have it here now. Everything is looking all good. The name, the left section, the center, and the right, they're all looking okay. So let us check for responsiveness. As you can see, this is not responsive at all. Let us check on a medium size. Okay, so let us work on this. First off, on a medium screen, so we're using media, so the max width, 834 pixels. So for hero content, we're going to set the padding inline to 70 pixels. And then the H1 tag for the hero content. This is supposed to be content. Okay. So for hero center, we have an H1 tag as well. I'm going to set the font. So we need to set the font size to 180 pixels. Now this is what we have on a medium screen. Okay. Let us see what it looks like on a smaller screen. Okay, this is looking too big. So let us work on the responsiveness on a smaller screen. The max width here, when it is at 430 pixels, that is mobile screen. The hero content, the padding inline, I'm going to set it to 30 pixels. And then the width will take 100% of the screen. So the left and the right contents, I don't want it to appear. So display here will be set to none. Then for the center, it's going to take margin top of 50 pixels. And then the H1 tag in the center, we need to reduce that a bit as well. Font size is going to take 120 pixels. So basically, this is what we have now. The image is covering the text. We need to move the image down a bit and the text are overlaid as well. So I'm starting with the text at the bottom. So I'm setting the margin top and reducing it a bit, minus 30 pixels. Then for the image, so for the image, we'll set the margin top as well, so minus 50 pixels. And then this is what we have on mobile screen. Okay, this is looking okay. So we're done on a larger screen. This is what we have on a medium screen. Sorry, this is what we have on mobile view. This is what we have, and on a large screen, this is what we have. So we're done with the Euro section. The next thing we need to work on is the About section. So I'm going to close these two files, the GSX file and the CSS file for our Euro section. Next is to open up our About folder. So let us start. Here I'm creating a div tag with a class name of About and an ID of About as well. Then for the About section, we have two sides, the left and the right side. So I'm creating a div tag for About left and also another div tag for About right. So at the left hand side, we have the image. So I'm creating a div tag for About image. Then I'm going to use the image class name. We need to import the image as well. We're using the Euro image. So I'm just going to import About image from our asset folder. And the name of the image is home.jpg. Okay. So I'm going to replace this with my curly braces. And the name here is About image. Right. So on the right hand side, that's where we have the title for About me. And also we have the paragraph tag with this text. Then I'm going to create another div tag for the buttons. So this is going to take About buttons. Then we have two buttons. The first button is going to take download CV. And the second button is going to take hire me. Okay, so this is what we have in our About section. Then here I'm just going to mount our About container, our About component here in our GSX, in our app.gsx file. So in our browser, this is what we're going to see. Next thing we need to do is to style. So I'm going to open my about.css file. Before that, I need to import the CSS file into the GSX file. So import the /about.css. So here we're starting with the About itself. Display here is going to be flex. Padding inline, I'm going to set it to 100 pixels. Flex direction is row. And the gap is going to take 10 rem. The gap between the left and the right side. So margin top here will take 80 pixels. Now the next thing we need to work on is the About image that is in our About left. So for the About image, display here will be inline block. And then the border, we need to set the border 8 pixel solid with this color code. The width will take 350 pixels. And then padding of 20 pixels. The border radius will take 10 pixels. So now we need to set the image. So the image size itself, the width is going to be 300 pixels. The border radius of this is also going to take 10 pixels. And the margin left is going to take 1.9 rem. So this is what we have now. Then we need to style this right section. Down to the right section, I'm just going to copy this. We have an H2 tag, remember we have a P tag, and we have these buttons. So let us start with the H2 tag. The font size, I'm going to set it to 100 pixels. So here, the font is, we're using the font that we selected from Google Font. So I'm going to get the font property from here. Remember that we're using this. So I'm just going to paste it here. All right. And then we have a P tag as well. So about right, for the P tag, we're setting the font size to 20 pixels. The color is going to take this color code. And margin bottom will take 20 pixels. Next up is our button container. So display, flex, and the gap between each of the buttons will take 15 pixels. Now for each of the button, the padding here will be 1 rem, 3 rem, the width and the height. So border radius here will take 10 pixels. Border will be set to none. And then the font weight will be set to 600. And we have our about section. Okay. Next thing we need to check is if it is responsive. Let us see. So as you can see, it is not. Okay. So let us make it responsive. We're going to start with the medium screen. So max width of 834 pixels. So the about container itself, padding inline is going to take 50 pixels, and the gap between left and right will be 6 rem. Then for the about image, I'm going to set the width to 250 pixels. That's the about image container. Then the image itself, the width here will take 200 pixels. So on a medium screen, this is what we're going to have. And then on mobile screen, on a smaller screen, it is not looking good. So let us work on that as well. So here, 480 pixels. The about container itself, justify contents. I want all the content to be at the center. Padding inline, I'm going to set it to 40 pixels. Then the about left display is going to be none. I don't want it to show. So on a medium screen, this is what it looks like, and then on a smaller screen, this is what it is going to look like. So we're done with the hero, the navbar, the about section. Next thing we need to work on is the work/project section. So I'm just going to close this file, close this other file, then open the work file, the work folder, starting with the work.gss file, RFC, to create a functional React app. So now we're on our work.gss file, and then first off, we need to import all of the images that we're going to be using. Okay, so I'm going to import image 2 from, I just give it a name, image 2 from my asset folder, and I'm using this first image, sample1.jpeg, that's the name. Okay, then import, I can just give it image 1 from my asset folder /sample2.jpeg. Then here import image 3 from my asset folder, and I'm using sample3.jpeg. Come on, .jpeg, right? So the fourth image, image 4 from /assets, and this is going to take sample4.jpeg. Okay, now that we have imported all of our images, we need to create an array of objects for the works that is going to contain all the contents that we'll be needing here. Let me show you what I mean. So here we have this GitHub link with a GitHub icon. We have the link to preview the project or the work, right? We have the title, we have the description, and we have the images. So we need to create an array of objects that's going to contain all of these, then we're going to use the map method to map over each of the contents before we display. Okay, so I'm going to create an array for works. This is going to store all our content in form of objects. So for each object, I'm creating the first object. We have image, right? IMAGE, and this is going to take image 1. Okay, the title here, this is responsive. The image is showing responsive e-commerce website, right? And then we have our text, and the text I'm just going to use, and then we'll have GitHub. Okay, I don't think I used a comma here. Okay, so we're going to have GitHub, and then I'm just going to create like a link. GitHub. You can replace this with your GitHub link to the project you're trying to showcase, and then we'll have link here. You can replace this as well with the link of the project, like the live preview of the project. So to save time, I'm going to pause this video and add more, like create more objects. Okay, right. So I created more objects. So in our array we have 4 objects, and that is what is storing our content of what we want to display on our screen. We have the first object for the responsive e-commerce website with the image, the text, the GitHub link, and the link. The second one for SaaS marketing websites. This is part of the work that we want to display in the work section. The investment website, the e-learning website. So it's just short and simple. Then let us get to the main work. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this work. Then I'm going to create a div tag with an ID of work. So this is div.work with an ID of work. So I'm going to start with an h2 tag with the class name of work header, and it's going to take work. Oh, Ctrl Z. And I'm going to create the work container. So for work container, now what we're going to do here is to map over the array that we created earlier, each of the contents. So we're going to use the map method, works.map. So this is work. I'm going to pass work, and then the index that will serve as the identifier. So we're going to return a div with a class name of work. Okay, so there's a little here. The first one here, the first div here is going to take work list, since that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to display the work list. And this second div here is for each of the work, like each of the projects. Okay. And then I need to pass a key here for our identifier, which is going to be index, for the unique identifier for each of the work. Next thing is to create another div for work contents. So in the work contents, we're going to have our work link and our work image. So this is for work. Okay, we have work contents, and we're going to have inside work content, we're going to have the work link. So I'm using 2 link tags. I need 2. So the first one is going to take the GitHub link, work.github. Let me separate each of the links. And what we want to display is the GitHub icon. So GitHub. Then that is going to suggest a list of icons for me. So I'm going to use this icon here. The second one here is going to take work link. So work.link. And what I want to display is the link icon. So I'm using this icon. Also, inside our work contents, apart from the work link, we have the title, right? So I'm using an h2 tag, and it is going to take work.title. And also we have the text. I'm using a paragraph tag here for work.text. So this is the work content is more like the left section. Now for the work image that we're going to display also, which is going to be on the right. So I'm creating a div tag with a class name of work image. So in the work image, we're just going to pass our image here, work.image. So to see what we've done, we're going to mount our work components in our app.gsx. So this is what we have without CSS styling. So let us style. First off, we need to import our CSS file into our JSX file. So we need to import our work.css into the JSX file. Then I'm going to open our the CSS file for work. Then let us start the real styling. So for work list, so we're starting with work list, right? So we're starting with work lists and we want to style the work header. We want the text in the center. Margin top is going to take 30 pixels. The font size will take 90 pixels. The font family, we're using the font family of this font family. So I'm just going to paste this. Now we're going to style the work container. Display is going to take flex. Flex direction is going to be colon. We want all the items in the center. Overflow on y-axis, we want it to be auto. And padding here will take 20 pixels. Now to the work, each of the work lists itself, each of the work list item. The background will take this color code. Display will take flex. Flex direction here will be row. The border radius will be 10 pixels. Margin, and then the max width is going to be 90%. The height of each work list item will be 500 pixels. Overflow will be hidden, and then the padding will be 10 pixels. Okay. Next thing we need to work on now is our work image. Okay, so we can style this work image. This is not looking okay. Let us style the work image. So my JSX file, the work image container, overflow will be hidden, and then flex, not flex direction, flex will be set to 2. So the image itself, the IMG tag, the width is going to take 100%. The height is going to take 100% of the container. Object fits will be set to cover, and the border radius is 10 pixels. Right. So basically, we're not seeing anything because we're here to style the content. Now back to the content. So for the work content, flex will also be set to 2. Padding will be set to 20 pixels. Padding top here for the work content will be 60 pixels. And then padding left will take 30 pixels. Okay, so this is looking okay. Next up is the H2 tag that we have in the work content. We have an H2 tag. So the margin, and then the font size will take 38 pixels. Margin top will take 40 pixels. We have a paragraph tag in our work content as well. So margin will be set to 0. The font size, we need to make it bolder, so 20 pixels should do it. Then the color of the text is going to take this color code. Also, we have this work link here that contains the GitHub icon and the link icon. So for the work link, display will be set to flex. That will be 20 pixels. Then for the link in the work link, the font size, which is going to be the font size for the icon that we're trying to showcase, will be 44 pixels. Okay, so this is what we have now. This is looking all good. So let's check if it is responsive. Inspect. So on the mobile view, this is what it's looking like. So on a very small screen, it's not looking okay. Let's see it on a medium screen. Okay, it's a little bit better on a medium screen. So let us work on the mobile view first off. So here I'm going to have at media the max width of 480 pixels. for small screen. Now for the work container itself, the work itself, flex direction will be column. Remember that we're displaying flex, and the height, we need to increase it to 650 pixels. Now for work content as well, the paragraph tag in the work content, we need to change the font size to 16 pixels. Then the work image, the width here is going to be 95%, and the height will take 300 pixels. We have an H2 tag as well in the work content, so we're going to adjust that too. So I'm setting the margin top here to 10 pixels and the font size to 30 pixels. So on the small screen, this is what we're going to have. So it is looking all good. Next up is now we have the contact section and the footer section. So let us work on the contact and the footer. So I'm going to close this CSS file for work and then the GSX file as well. So I'm going to close this folder. Then I'll open the folder for the contacts and the GSX file. So RFC to create a functional React app, press enter. Then let us start work. So here I'm going to create a div tag with a class name of contact form and an ID of contact. So dot contact form is an ID of contacts. So we have an H2 tag. We're creating for contact me. This is going to display contact me. Then next up is like a text. Please fill this form to book my service. Right. Next thing we need to do, since we're creating a form, we're going to need the form tag. So let's work hash here. So here our form tag, we're creating a div tag. The first div tag, we're going to have the label for the first name, and this is going to display full name. Then we're going to create another div tag with a class name of names. So in this div tag, we're going to have two inputs for the first and the last name. So I'm having input in form of text. So the type is going to be text. So the name is first name. And the ID as well is going to be first name. Also, we need a placeholder. So the placeholder is going to take first name. And this is required. Okay. The second input. So the second input is also going to be in form of text. So the type, I'm just going to select text. Name is last name. The ID as well is last name. And the placeholder is going to take last name. Next thing we need to do is to create another div tag for the email section. So here we have a div tag, then label email. This is going to display email, and we're using a star to show that it is required, it is compulsory. So I'm going to have an input tag here, and the type is email. So the name here is going to take email. The ID as well is going to take email, and the placeholder is going to take example, like you're showing the user what they should enter at example.com. It could be a Gmail, it could be anything. So it could be a Gmail, it could be a Yahoo Mail. Okay. So we're done with the email section. Then I'm going to create another div here, and that is for message. Okay. So label, this is going to take message, and what we want to display is message, and we're using this to show that it is compulsory. So for message, if you remember in our HTML, we use text area. Okay, so the name is going to take message as well. The ID is going to take message, and it is also required. All right. So after that, we need a button, and the button type is a submit type button. So we want to display submit. Okay, so this is our contact form. I'm going to mount it in the app.gsx. So contact So this is what we have currently without styling. Now let's just style it on. So back to my contact.gss, I'm going to import my CSS file into my GSX file. So I'm going to open the CSS file. We're starting with the contact form container. So this is contact form. First, we need to set the max width. It's going to be 600 pixels. The margin will be set to auto because we want it at the center. Padding of 20 pixels should do it. And the border will be 1 pixel solid with this color code as 212531. Then a border radius of 10 pixels, we're going to apply that to it. Margin top will take 3 rem. Now remember that we have an H2 tag, so we want the text to be at the center, and then margin bottom of this as well, 20 pixels. We also have a P tag. We want the text to be at the center, and the margin bottom of this as well to be 20 pixels. And the color is going to take this color code. Now we have this form element here, and we have div tags for the form element. So here we're going to have contact form tag with div tag. The margin bottom of each is going to take 15 pixels. Now the first div tag is with a class name of names. So I'm styling this names display flex because we have two inputs in this container, the first name and the last name, right? Next thing we need to do is the label in the form. So for the label, display is going to take block, margin bottom is going to be 5 pixels, and the font width will be bold. Let's see. So this is what we have right now. Next thing we need to do is to style our input tag and the text area. So right here, contact form, the form, and we're styling the inputs. Also, we're styling the text area, contact form, the form with the text area. So the width, we want to have a form of calculation. It should take 50% of the entire width minus 25 pixels. Padding is going to take 10 pixels. The margin right is going to take 10 pixels. Margin bottom will be 5 pixels. Then our border will be 1 pixel solid with this color code. And also the border radius will be 5 pixels. And the background transparent. Okay, so this is what we have. The email section, the input tag for email and message, they're quite small, so we need to increase the width. So here we're going to have contact form and the form element. So the input and our target, okay, the input, our target here is of type email, right? And then we want to style for the text area. So we're setting the width to 95% of the container. So this is it. So this is it. This is also looking quite small for the names. So here, okay, there should be a space between both. So it's looking all good. We need to increase the height of the text area. So I'm going to have contact form, the form, and then text area. The height is going to take 160 pixels. Resize to none. And then we have a button. So contact form, our button. The width should take 100% of the container. Padding will take 10 pixels. The background color should be white. The text color should be black. The border will be set to none. And the border radius should be 5 pixels. Cursor here is going to be the pointer. And also when you hover on the button, you should work on the hover effects. We want to change the background color to this color code. So this is it here. When you hover on it, this is what you're going to see. So we're done with our contacts. Next thing is, let us see if it is responsive before we move to the next thing. Okay, so our contact form is responsive, so we don't need to touch that. Next thing we need to work on is the footer section. So I'm going to create the contact.css file and also close the contact.jsx file. Then on our footer, REFC to create a functional React app, click enter. Okay, so I'm going to create a div tag here with a class name of footer. Then we're going to create another div tag for footer bottom. Since it's at the bottom side, we have the left and right. Okay, so this is going to take footer. I'm creating another div tag for the left side. Then I'm going to create another div tag for the right side. Okay, so for the left, we're going to have, I'm creating an h2 tag, and it's going to take the name John Trumbull. Then I'm going to create another div tag for socials, and that is where we're going to have all our social icons, starting with Facebook. So React is going to suggest a list of icons that we can choose from. I'm using the first. So class name will be social icon. Okay, let me close this tag. Then we're using Instagram. So I'm using the first one. Let me just copy this class name and paste it here, since that's what we're going to be using. And lastly, let's say YouTube, right? And I'll paste the class name that I copied earlier. So on the right section, we're going to have lists, and it's going to take 4 list items. The first list being home, the second list item being services, the third list item being about me, and the last list item being hire me. Okay, and then after this footer bottom, we want to have an HR tag, then with the copyright text. So I'm going to create a p tag, give it a class name of copy, and then it's going to take these texts. Okay, so this is our footer. Then we'll come back to our GSS, mount it here. So this is our footer in our GSS. Let us style. First off, we need to import our CSS file into the GSS file, footer.css, and I'm starting with this, but I'm going to copy this and paste it here. So for footer, display is going to be flex. Flex direction is colon. The gap will take 30 pixels, and the padding will take 80 pixels. Now, for this footer bottom, display is going to be flex as well. Display here, flex. Justify content, space between. Yeah. Now for the footer left, we have the h2 tag. Okay, so let me copy this. And we have the social as well. So for the h2 tag, the font size, I'm going to set it to 28 pixels. Okay, the socials, display here will be flex, and the gap is going to be 15 pixels. Margin top here will take 10 pixels. Now the social icons, each of the social icons, they have the same class name. So for socials, social icon, the font size, I would set it to 20 pixels. Now we have the right section. So for the right, the list, display will be flex, and the gap between each list item is going to take 15 pixels. Then now for the each of the list item, li, we need to set the font size. This is going to take 18 pixels. Okay. Now we have the copyrights. Remember, I created a p tag with the class name of copy. Text align, want it at the center, and the font size of the text will take 18 pixels. So this is what we have. Let us see if it is responsive. So on mobile view, it is not responsive enough, but on the medium screen, it is responsive. So we need to work on the mobile view. So here we're going to have a media and we define the max width. The max width for mobile is 480 pixels. So the footer, we're going to have a padding of 50 pixels. We need to reduce the padding. Now for the padding, for the footer bottom, the flex direction is going to be colon, and then the footer right display will be none. Then for the copy, footer.copy, we're going to resize the font size to 14 pixels. So this is it on a mobile view. Alright. So this is everything we've done.